Hello everybody and welcome back. So we're going to continue with this Houdini tree in Houdini. And first off, we can see here that I want some more variation on these leaves here because it needs to be more like this to look better. And I'm going to go back into Houdini and just make sure it's a little bit more noise. So if we look at this branch here, I'm just going to go into this tree leaf generator, go to orientation, and I'm actually just going to do zero them out. And then I'm going to start to randomize these stuff. So this will be a much better result. So if we do save this one and look here, this will be so much better for us. So we're gonna leave Houdini for a little bit and create the materials. The base materials. So we're gonna make the leaf material here, and we have in the render we have the materials. So we're gonna make sure we make a shader graph, lit shader graph, and it's gonna be the pine tree leaf. And we're going to make a material and put this one on the leaves. So in here, we're going to make sure we have texture 2D. We're going to have a color. And we're going to have this going to be the normal. This is going to be the opacity. So we're going to have the color go to a sample texture 2D. And we're going to have for the normal and for the opacity like this. So with the normal, it's important to do the type to normal. And we're going to place the normal into normal tangent, and we're going to have the opacity. It's going to be, I'm going to take the red because it's black and white, and then we just need one color. We don't need to use this one. And we don't have any alpha here, so we need to go into graph settings, and we are not going to pick the transparent. We're going to keep it opaque. But we're gonna do alpha clipping. So now you see alpha occurred and alpha clipping threshold. And also we're gonna do render phase. We're gonna do both. This is very important, these things here. So now, yeah, so both is to render both sides of the mesh. Now we can do this one into the alpha, and the alpha clip, I'm actually going to lower it to 0.35 because it seems to be a good value on my tryouts. And what it actually does, it just makes sure when it's black, it's going to be transparent. And when it's white, it's going to be opaque. And if it's a gray value, then this determines when it's going to cut on the gray value. So this is good, this should work good. Now we have this one here, we're gonna save it. And if we now take the pine tree, we have the pine tree here. So we do in the render. Okay, we do, wait. We have the, here is the material, and we lock it so we can move materials on it. So we go into the render, and we have the Pine Tree Diffuse Render Final. And we see we have it here. And we do the normal. And we do the opacity. And now it's starting to become a pine tree. So it looks a little bit, how to say it, not so a lot of pine leaves. So we're gonna scale up these quads so it's gonna represent more. And also you see it's kind of bluish. So this is the smoothness. So we're gonna go back, and here we're gonna make sure that the smoothness is 0. And we'll go back to the scene, and you see it looks better now. So here are our pine things that we made before. So it's starting to get shape. And if we start to address, get it a little bit more volume in it. So if we go back to Houdini and to the branches, we're gonna, in the general, we're gonna do the uniform scale and set it to 1. And yeah, let's try that one out. Save to disk. And you see it's more volume on it. And we could actually even do more. I think it could be, yeah, do a little bit more. 1.4 maybe. And save this one. Yeah, I'm gonna go for this one. Looks nice. It's a lot, but that's okay. Actually, it's better to have bigger and less quads than a lot of quads and small quads, because then it's less resolution. So we're gonna have the bark as well. You see the bark here. We're gonna make a nice bark material, and that's gonna be fun. So we're gonna do shader graph, URP, lit shader graph, and it's gonna be pine tree bark. We're gonna create material. So we have the pine tree bark, put it on here. So if we open up pine tree bark, so we need a reference for this. And if I have actually here, so this is bark that we're gonna make. So this one is something like this. I think we're gonna do a simple version of it. So we're gonna use the Veroni node for this one, Veroni. And if we do a material, yeah, let's do cylinder. So we're gonna make, if we just plug it out in the base like this. So we're gonna use this to make these shapes. And we can do this with tiling and offset. So if we put this one in here and we do the squeeze it, you can see it's starting to get these kind of shapes, right? And then we just want them to be a little bit, actually we're gonna use the cells like this. So you see these cells that kind of represent these ones here, but they need to be a little bit more organic. They are a little bit too sharp. So we're gonna make sure that we do an UV node here. That's gonna add us some noise. And we're gonna have it inside here. Scale, we can start with 50. And this one, so this value is between 0 and 1. We're gonna remap it so it's both positive and negative. So we do a remap node. And then we're just gonna, here we're gonna add. So we're gonna have it like this, like so. So now you see there's a lot of offset here, but this one is too much. So we're gonna remap this one and have it, let's see, we're gonna make a float here. And this one gonna go into a vector 2. And it's also gonna go in here, but we're gonna go and negate it. So this means that if we have 0.1 here, it's negative 0.1 here. So then it's gonna remap 0.1, it's gonna remap 0 to 1, and the new value is gonna be negative 0.1 to 0.1. It's actually gonna be the other way around. So we're gonna make it like this. So the first value is gonna be negative. And now you can see it's starting to get those shapes. And we can work with this one here. So now we're starting to get these shapes, and the way we're going to do this, we're going to just use a lerp. So we're going to have here 2 colors. We're going to have bark color 1. We're going to do bark color 2. We're going to have this one in a lerp, and the other one in B. And the cell's gonna represent the different values. So in the bark first one, we're gonna have 2 brown colors. So we're gonna have a pretty, yeah, I guess this one is good. And in the bark color 2, we make another brownish color. And then if we do this one, then we have our bark. So let's see how it looks in our scene. And here we have our bark. So you can see it's very shiny. So we're gonna just make sure that we lower the smoothness on this one. And that's in here. So the smoothness, we just kill it, put it to 0. And also, I think we're gonna make if we use this value here, and we do actually out, and we do a color mask. So if we set the fuzziness to 1, and we put this one up, we can get these shapes here. And then we're just gonna do a remap with this one. So we have the value 0 to 1, and we do it scale down 0 to 0.1. And this is gonna go into a normal from height. And then we just have that into the normal. So we have a really nice normal as well. So if we save this one and go back in the scene, there should be a normal on this one. So we're gonna make sure we have the material here. Not this one, we're gonna have this one here. Let's see what, there is something. So I guess we need a float for this one. So if we do a float, we do normal for this one. So we could just see the values from the outside. So we're gonna have this normal, and I'm gonna make this mode to a slider. So it's from 0 to 1. And yeah, now you can see it's starting to get better So if we save this one and see how that one looks in the scene. Now you see it is starting to get barky. So this is nice. So we're just gonna add a little bit more detail to this shader. So here in this diffuse here, we're gonna add some noise to this one. So we're gonna make some simple noise and we're gonna remap this one as well. So we're gonna have this one to be, we keep it for this like now, then we just do a multiply. And we multiply these two. And now you see there's a lot of noise here. So now we can just control this one, how much we want to add. So I'm going to keep it at 0.5-ish. So we have the, these parts here is doing the noise. And this one is doing the bark shape here with the Verona noise. And we actually do the little bit extra noise on it with this noise here. And down here we do some normals as well. And we could also do some smoothness map and stuff, but I'm gonna skip that for now. So now we, in the scene, we have it like this, and we can change the normal to a little bit more like this. Nice. So here we have it, and let's analyze it a bit. So there is a thing with the light and the normals. So I'm gonna keep this as it is, and I'm gonna make a new one so you can see what I mean. And if we go back to Houdini, we make a new version here. Because the normals, they are pointing. The normals are pointing as they are on all quads, you see like this. But when you render a tree, it could be beneficial to just change all these normals. So I'm just going to do it to explain it easier. So what I want to do is if I do a tube and then I just do a radius that's going to represent the shape. So if I do copy parameter on the height and put it on the center eye and just paste relative reference and I do times 0.5, then it will always be on the bottom. So if I do a remesh on this one, and I also do the target size to 1, I don't need so much, and I do, you see it's a lot of thin one up here. I'm just going to do iteration a bit and do some smoothness. No, actually not smoothness. But this one's fine. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put normals on this shape. And I'm going to put them on the points. Because now you see all these points is pointing away from the tree, right? But here you see the normals is pointing inwards, outwards, and all over the place. And when you render a tree, it could be beneficial to have the normals like this. So we're going to transfer these normals to this tree, and this is going to be pretty simple. So we're going to do, let's see, attribute transfer. So what's going to happen here, this transfer node gonna take on the points, it's going to take all the normals and transfer them over here. So now you see that all the normals is pointing the same way as these ones do. So you see the difference here, right? And now if I save this one to, I do Lod 1 here at the moment, just to make, not to save over the other one. So if I add this one here, it's just a copy. The only thing is the normals is different. And now you see it's rendered so much better. You can see it's such a big difference. So yeah, do that and your trees will look better. And yeah, I remember I messed with this a bit when I was working on a project, but yeah, it feels good. So in the next one, we're actually gonna optimize these meshes, because now you see it's vertices, a lot of vertices. So we're gonna, in the next one, we're gonna focus on making sure that they are more optimized and not so much unnecessary mesh, and do lots. So thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.